Without those other people, I'm just a guy who did pretty well in dailies that day, all right? So, every movie we've ever done...
disagree with
okay, fine. Yeah, like you're the star of the CBS Morning Show. I'm nuts about that John Dickerson, aren't you?
I am too.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes, we had a John Dickerson left us because the point Tom was making is he can't do it without the team around him. I was talking that you're an Oscar-nominated actor, and he goes, yeah, but I have screenwriters, I have makeup, I have directors, and I said, yeah, but it's you. He goes, no, and that's what led to that exchange. He's nuts about you, John Dickerson. That was Oscar-winning actor Tom Hanks. He's won 2, been nominated for many, many more, giving kudos to the people behind the scenes of his movies and praising the one and only John Dickerson. So I was with Tom last night here in New York City for an event at the 92nd Street Y Community and Cultural Center. His book came out in paperback, and so that's why we were having the conversation. But we talked about his career and his other creative passion, writing. Tom Hanks is set to star in a biopic as the iconic Mr. Rogers, which hits theaters next year. It was the filming of this movie that moved Hanks to send a heartfelt message to the city of Pittsburgh in the aftermath of the tragedy. Mr. Rogers was filmed in Pittsburgh because that's where he was from.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, and you all know there's a terrible, terrible, deadly story, tragic story in Pittsburgh. And shortly after you filmed, we had that terrible shooting at the synagogue. And I remember seeing you last week, and you said, I actually know that synagogue.
Yes.
And you tweeted about it. It made national news. You said, again, it says, love thy neighbor, no exceptions. Again, to me, this photo is the spirit of Pittsburgh, with a broken heart today for those in Squirrel Hill. So you used to see that synagogue all the time.
Well, that wasn't the synagogue. That sign was
Well,
up,
this isn't the synagogue.
That's a church that's up on Mount Washington. If you know Pittsburgh, you take the incline up, you walk around, and that was a pig. But the Tree of Life Synagogue is in Squirrel Hill. We shot at the studios of WQED, where Mr. Rogers actually shot his and we drove past that synagogue 16 times in the course of while we're there. We always thought, oh, what a great name for a synagogue. And
but the fact that you tweeted about it, I thought touched a lot of people.
Well, yeah, what can you do in the face of that? I will tell you this. Mr. Fred Rogers, we keep calling him Mr. Rogers, you know. Fred Rogers, people would ask him questions like, the great imponderables and the ironies of life. And one of the questions he was asked has always been, what do we do in times of great struggle or great horror?
Yeah.
And Mr. Rogers said, as only he could, he said, look to the helpers. Yes, a horrible thing has happened, but you cannot give up hope. And if you need a source of hope, look to the helpers. Look to the people who come in immediately and start passing out food and taking care of things or help organize a thing. And that is, in a lot of ways, that's the extraordinary thing about, let's just narrow down all of Western civilization to the United States of America. When that happens, in earthquakes in Los Angeles or typhoons somewhere, or in the course of such bloodshed and horror has happened in Squirrel Hill, everybody comes out and helps. And guess what? It is possible to love thy neighbor with no exceptions.
Yep.
We can be good at that if we choose to be.
We can be, and it is a choice. I think kindness matters, and I think we need it more now than ever. Tom Hanks believes in this country. He says we will be all right. You knew he was going to say helpers.
Well, that's because he's got that gene inside him.